Kiss 92. Waking up Singapore.
Gotta get up.
The Big Show on Kiss 92.
Gotta get up.
Good morning and welcome to the biggest and best breakfast show here in Singapore. It's a Tuesday and that's why we have with us on The Big Show and The Big Show TV, Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Good morning, Gerry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Gerry.
I miss you, Gerry. I haven't seen you in what, 2 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks, I think? 2 weeks, huh?
yeah.
2 weeks.
Last week, just last week.
Oh, just
Yeah.
last week.
You
Feels
didn't-
I haven't seen you in like weeks, man.
You didn't get your weekly therapy session last week.
Yeah, that's how much I miss you.
Aww.
So what are we going to be
glad you're
talking about
better.
today? Yeah, I feel much
we're
better.
gonna-
Thank you, Gerry. Thank you.
We're going to talk about Tourette syndrome today.
Okay.
And-
What is Tourette's?
Yeah.
Well, 3 years ago when we first started the Big Show TV, I talked about it. So I thought I wanted to revisit it again with the permission of my young friend. Yeah, because he broke down in session yesterday and I was like, okay, let me talk about, Tourette syndrome again because it is a neurological disorder. The onset is in childhood, and we have seen, some of us have seen, right, in public, this really rapid, strange movements people make or sounds people make that kind of catch us off guard.
It's like a big shiver that you have with some people.
And shouting as well,
And-
sort of
and-
random
yeah.
random
Yes.
loud
There's
voices.
a sound that comes
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
I think the most
So there are
recent
more-
one we saw was Louis Capaldi.
Yes.
Right?
What happened?
He was
was on
on
stage.
stage during his concert and he had a very bad bout of Tourette's. And the audience actually completed the song for him.
Oh.
They sang the words for him because he couldn't pull himself to
Yeah.
sing the song all the way through.
That's true.
So that was quite a public one.
Maybe he
a
did it.
couple of weeks
He did
ago.
it on purpose so
No,
that this
Glenn.
video
No.
will go out.
Glenn,
No,
like
Glenn.
Glenn.
These days, you never know. These entertainers.
No.
But anyway, are people born with Tourette's?
They're not born with Tourette's, but the onset is during childhood, usually before 18 years old. So the Tourette has to be, so there are tic disorders that are beyond 18 years old, but most of the time they start before 18. And it can come with motor tics or vocal tics.
Can it come with both?
So Tourette's comes with both,
Both.
and they have multiple types.
Oh.
Yeah. So Angel has a question.
No, that's okay. I can ask it in a while.
On the
if
Big
you
Show
want.
TV.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Right,
speaking to Dr.
right.
Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. All right, let's continue this conversation on the Big Show TV. It is Tuesday, the 4th of April.
Kiss 92 Day Check by Gain City. Gain City's 42nd.
So you said it's usually kids 18 and under, but are certain types of children more susceptible? I mean, do they have other sort of issues that they're going through or disorders that bring this on?
No, so there's no known cause, no known reason sometimes. Yeah. There are sometimes perhaps a transition, perhaps higher stress that can bring on a tic disorder. But it might not be caused by anything at all.
You say a tic disorder is Tourette's not the only one?
So Tourette's come under the umbrella of tic disorder. So there's tic disorder, there's the Tourette's disorder, persistent chronic motor tic disorder, persistent vocal tic disorder. So you can have just one type. Or
Right,
you can
okay.
have both type, which is Tourette's, and Tourette's is the most complex of all, because some people, perhaps they have a motor disorder, so they just keep, moving one part, or they move their shoulder, and they only have one sudden, repetitive, non-rhythmic movement. But for Tourette's, they have both motor as well as vocal and they can all come together. The arm, the hand, the head, the vocal, everything can come together.
Wow.
That's why it's called complex.
Gerry, can Tourette's be passed down through a family? Is it hereditary?
It's not exactly hereditary, so sometimes most of the time we don't see it in the family itself, but it can, so certain families we do see high anxiety, the parents having some sort of tic, and the child also developing a tic. But it can be, it can come without, any sort of family background.
So what can an individual do to control his or her Tourette's?
Oh my gosh, that's the worst thing to ever tell the person. Please control your tics. It is very automatic. And trust me, they do try to control their tics because they try to hide it because they know it is inappropriate at times. It is embarrassing. It is something that garners a lot of unwanted attention. So they already do try to control themselves. So the last thing we want to tell them is, hey, control it, or hey, stop it.
Is it curable, Dr. Gerry?
So there are different types. So the tic disorder that is perhaps brought about by certain stress. Those we can decrease the stress, decrease anxiety, and typically it wanes with time. Tourette's is a different ballgame of its own, so it doesn't actually dissipate. It waxes and wanes. So it comes and goes. It maybe gets a little bit better for a period of time, and then it comes back again. And they can go in cycles and go in really bad bouts.
Gerry, are there different degrees of Tourette's? I mean, there would be one where the tic is almost violent, and yet in the other it may be just a second.
Yep. So you have those that just the shoulder, move and the vocals, so you can have mild. The young man that I've been seeing for years now, he has a very severe version of it. So his whole body can rock back and forth.
Wow.
And so there's the motor part and as well as the vocal tics that comes together with it. He can actually hurt himself. There has been many times he's hurt his head, his legs, he's broken his glasses, many, many times over.
So is this a neurological thing?
Yes, it is it's under the umbrella of a neurological disorder.
And there is no medication for this?
So it really depends on the person. Some people, they respond to the medication. Some people, they don't. So there are also different types of medication that are out there, but it really depends on the person themselves and how they respond.
I know we can't exactly put ourselves in their shoes, but what must it be like living with Tourette's? I mean, like you've been speaking to this young gentleman. I'm sure you have had other cases as well. But what do you sort of gather from what it's like living with Tourette's?
So a little background, a little story about this 20-year-old young man. So in primary school, it started, and he the parents brought him all over the world to try and get some help for it.
Gerry, you want to tell us a story on the radio?
I think it
because
might be better.
since we have like 30 seconds left, I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So how many patients do you have? I mean, while we get there, how many patients do you have who suffer from Tourette?
Tourette?
Yeah.
Tics. So
Tics.
Tourette's is not typically given to anyone. So usually we start with you have a tic disorder,
I see.
because usually they just come with one or the other.
Okay, stand by,
And,
Gerry. We'll go on air now. Stand by.
Kiss Sports 92 traffic.
Okay, if you're heading out of your house right about now, if you're thinking of heading onto the PIE towards Changi Airport, I would advise strongly against it. There are 3 accidents that have been reported on the PIE heading towards Changi Airport. The first is after Toh Guan Road's exit. The second is after Bukit Batok East Avenue 3. And the third is just before Simei Avenue. Now, all these are causing quite a lot of backups on the road. You're advised to avoid lanes 1, 2, and 3, or the PIE altogether. Wherever you are today, stay safe.
Good morning and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. And this morning we're talking about Tourette syndrome. Good morning, Gerry.
Good morning, and talk about mistakes. I accidentally clicked on the wrong button, so I disappeared from screen.
Oh, no, that's all right.
We didn't see you disappear
We
from
didn't
the
you were
notice.
fine
We
with
didn't.
us,
It was so
Yeah.
quick, nobody noticed.
You never went away.
But Dr. Gerry, I was asking you on the Big Show TV that although we cannot begin to even imagine what it is like to live with Tourette's, you've worked with some individuals with Tourette's and tic disorders
Yes.
or syndromes.
Yes.
What must it be like for someone living with it?
Yep. So I've got the permission of this young man, and I will share his story. So since primary school, his parents, he developed, or rather, the onset was during that time. So his parents were young parents, bringing him everywhere to try, all over the world actually, to try and get his tic sorted out. Secondary school was okay. He was able to manage it. It wasn't so bad. But by the time he got to JC, it was almost uncontrollable, and no therapy, and any sort of therapy could not help him. So he could not complete his JC. There was social issues. There was focusing issues. So he left JC life. And that was, I think, for a couple of years before he gained back his confidence. So during that time, when he left school, he came to me for therapy. And we worked really extensively, definitely with all other sorts of therapy. And his confidence was at an all-time low. It was just so difficult for him. He could have his tics the entire night, and he'll be exhausted.
Wow,
Poor
and
guy.
his mom would have to ensure that he is safe, because when he has a tic, it really looks like he's having fits. It's like out of control.
So you can actually experience it while you're asleep as well.
Oh, well, it comes at night, so I don't think he really has a sleep.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And it's very frustrating for him because he cannot control it,
Yeah.
but the neighbors don't know that. So there are many times, despite parents soundproofing his room, putting in the best sort of soundproof, neighbors still complain, even when they explain about it. And mind you, it can be very, very loud. And he has what we call coprolalia, which is shouting out swear words.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So can you imagine in the middle of the night and you hear not only the sound but also swear words coming out? I think most of us do not. It would be very, very difficult, to try and understand. Yet on the other side, he's saying, I didn't ask for it. I'm so frustrated. I have to live with this. Why am I being penalized? Why am I born with this? Of course, he's not born with this. So he's very tired. He's very frustrated, and he looks at himself saying that I'm a bad person, right? Because I have this and therefore I'm bad. So it's very, very heartbreaking. There are times which is where it's really nice, really wonderful, where he feels a little bit better about himself. I'm very, very proud to say our young man has completed his poly studies, straight A student.
Well done.
Wow, well done.
Yes, but now it is also the other phase of life where part of his breakdown is who is going to hire me? I can't even do my work.
Right.
Or the perception is that I can't do my work because I'm doing it and then I have a tic.
Yeah. Okay, Gerry, we'll continue this conversation on The Big Show TV. It is 8:13.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you by Putian. Introducing Putian.
I'm sure there will be people who will
Must be
hire
so
him.
painful,
But
yeah.
I really, really feel for him, man.
Yeah. Okay, Gerry, I know someone who suffers from a mild version of Tourette's. And I have noticed that when this person is in a situation where they have to focus, the attacks don't happen.
So it is slightly better when they can focus, but it's a chicken and an egg. Sometimes they have a bout of it and they cannot focus. Yeah, so this young man takes photos and videography, and I'm very, very proud to say we can actually watch one of his videography and editing. It's the recent 12 things to do in Changi Airport or at Changi
Oh,
Airport.
nice.
Oh, right.
Yes, so you can Google it
Wow.
on YouTube. That is one of his works that he has done.
Amazing.
So really proud of him. So he does wonderful works, yet at the same time he's so wrecked with this self-esteem issues because of it.
Was he the same one that took photos of you and your team as well?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
some time ago. I remember you
Yes.
showed it to us. I just wanted to ask. You were saying that when somebody with Tourette's involuntarily screams and shouts, they don't even have control of what is coming out of their mouths, because you said there were swear words and stuff like that. Not even that. You can't even control that.
No, he can try to hold it
Yeah.
in. Okay?
The sound, the
But
actual
then-
sound.
Yeah, but then it would sometimes just come out without them being able to control it.
And there's no
Yeah, they
even
will try as much as possible.
And there's no even signal that an attack is going to come on, because it's so quick, right?
I saw it in a movie once. I thought it was a joke.
No, I
where
have seen
someone with Tourette's, used vulgarities and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
think Edward Norton was acting as
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
with Tourette's.
I
as well
thought they were just
recently.
making fun
No.
of Tourette's, but I
No.
didn't know it was a real
It's that
thing
bad,
where
yeah.
there are some people who
It is.
actually,
It is.
they actually exclaim, vulgarities
words,
and
No,
swear
it
words.
gets quite bad, and you never know when it's going to hit.
So you
never
say
know.
it's a neurological thing, and the brain is very, very complicated, but it can also be trained in certain ways. Is there any kind of therapy at all, or anything that can be done to retrain the brain?
So Tourette's is really tough. We know that excitement, we know that stress exacerbates the symptoms. So we can help them to calibrate or regulate their emotions. So that is something that we can help them to do. FD is absolutely right. When they're a bit more focused, they also are able to zone in. Doesn't mean that they do not tick. They still do have their ticks, but perhaps far lesser. They go in cycles. They do have cycles that are a little bit calmer. So it's not all the time that they have the full-on ticks. But for this young man, he does have pockets, periods of time, months even, that his body is just wrecked with the most complex motor and vocal tics.
Wow. So things like gaming, puzzles, solving stuff, and all that would be actually good for them because they're focused on something.
They can focus, they can use that to train themselves, but many times we have them focus on their passions, their interests.
Right. Yeah. Whichever
yeah.
whichever
Yeah.
they're interested in.
Yeah.
I think I brought it up the last time we talked about Tourette's. Our mixed martial artist Amir Khan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
He has Tourette's.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
and he found mixed martial arts to be very good for him.
Therapeutic for him.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yep. So they do find things that are a bit more inclusive. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they don't feel the stigma. So the other part is that whole social stigma where you're okay with yourself already, you feel a little bit stronger and you go out into the public and then you have a tick and people start to look at you, people start to point at you.
Or they even step back when they're near you.
Yeah, because they don't understand
They
it,
don't
right?
understand
But I'm
it.
sure,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like our topic for today,
Yeah.
you know, what was the question?
Do you care how people see you or what they think of you?
Exactly. Someone who has had Tourette's for many, many years will reach a point where they won't care anymore.
Is that
It's-
true, Dr. Jerry?
It's part of them.
I don't
No,
think
right?
so.
And
We
it's-
are all community or communal creatures, you know. So, to a greater or lesser extent, we want the approval of other people. And because the vocal tics and the motor tics can be so sudden, it does shock people. So sometimes when I'm not expecting it and suddenly a vocal tic occurs, I do go and I have to catch myself. I mean, it is shocking because it is so sudden,
Yeah.
but it is not against the person.
Okay, so what's the right thing to say should you encounter a situation like this? So if someone were to like, you know, give you a shock because the person has Tourette's, is it okay to turn to the person and go like, "Are you okay?" Is that okay? Because I mean, obviously the person is not okay.
Their tics doesn't mean that they are not okay.
Exactly. But I mean,
So
what I
you
mean is
don't
if
need
something,
to ask
if-
them
I
if
mean,
they're
but rather than
okay.
keep quiet,
Is
Yeah.
it no? But is it okay to ask them if they suffer from a tic disorder? Is that okay, or
But in the middle of an
What if
attack,
they're
he's not
not?
going to be able to answer you anyway.
no? I mean after, not like
Yeah.
immediately. I don't know. Yeah, just basically, how do we
I
react?
mean, because there could be a few reactions. The first reaction, if someone suddenly, if there's an outburst, is
You step back.
you turn around and you look at the person and you go like, "Are you
Are
okay?"
you okay? Yeah, that's
Right?
natural.
Yeah.
Or you could just not look at the person and just go, "Ooh." Or you can just ignore the person altogether and just pretend
you
like
didn't hear
"Oh,
or see
okay,
anything."
well,
Understand,
Yeah.
understand.
So-
Yeah, so it's very difficult because different situations, we cannot catch all situations. But if you know it is a Tourette's or a tic disorder, there's no need to ask.
Okay.
Right? So you just treat the person as per normal. But let's say it is only one sound. Okay, so one vocal tic, and you're not quite sure, and you can turn to the person because sometimes they mask it as a oh, and they
Right.
just stop, and you go, okay, what was that? And there's no more sound. You can then check in with the person, are you okay? And they will typically say, I'm okay. Yeah, so then there would not be any offense taken.
Yeah, because I know how I will react. If someone is really, really loud, let's say Tourette's or whatever, okay, I will just go, bloody hell! Just give me a shot there, you know, like, and then, you know, if I find out the person is Tourette's or whatever, I think, oh yeah, okay, it's fine. But
Yeah.
I will definitely jump.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I would as well. I don't know how I would react. You know, Dr. Gerry, before you came on, I was just doing a bit of research about celebrities that live with Tourette's, and Billie Eilish is mentioned.
Wow.
Mozart is mentioned.
Yes.
Obviously, Louis Capaldi, David Beckham, Seth Rogen, Dan Aykroyd. But also, along with their names, are things like OCD, ADHD, and all that. Are these common comorbidities?
So not always we have OCD and ADHD. There may be. Okay, so this young man didn't have ADHD or OCD. This young man had depression that came with it, and he would then slump into very deep depression. So at one point in time.
And it's understandable, right? Because you have a
Yeah.
condition like this and, you know, you're constantly thinking about it, like what Gerry mentioned, you know, why me? You know,
Yeah.
you're
You're
bound
going
to,
to get
slip
depressed.
into depression.
Jerry, when we live with someone who has Tourette's, particularly of the more aggressive type, the full body tic and things like that, when they have an attack, should we reach out, cuddle, hold, restrict the movement, or do we let them thrash?
you keep them safe because they are not aggressive. So I'm going to emphasize this point because it can be so sudden and so big, the movement. They can hit themselves, they can hit out. So people think that they are aggressive. They are not. But they can get hurt and you can get hurt. So the best thing is to observe them to see if they are safe. If they are near anywhere that they can hit themselves, you try to bring them away. So this young man's mother would always spend a lot of energy and a lot of time trying to ensure that he is safe. Yeah.
Okay.
But you if they are trashing out, do not go near if you're not sure what to do. Just keep them safe. Yeah.
Okay,
and
we're going back on. Okay, sorry. We're going back on the radio, okay? We're going to wrap up on air.
Okay.
Okay.
Kiss 92 traffic.
I can only say one thing. I don't advise you head on to the PIE heading towards the airport. Quite a few situations causing quite a bit of a mess there. But also on West Coast Highway towards Buro flyover after West Coast Road. Avoid the left lane. Another accident has been spotted. Wherever you are today, stay safe.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is from the therapy room. She is Dr. Geraldine Tan. Once again, good morning and welcome, Gerry.
Good morning.
Gerry, we've got a comment on our Facebook page from Jolyn. Her son is now 13. He was diagnosed with Tourette's at 7. He's doing awesome, she says, but sometimes he does get vocal tics, and it can be very disruptive in class, but his classmates and his teachers have been very understanding and very accommodative.
Well done.
Which is absolutely awesome. I think that's very, very important. And she says, my son doesn't quite care about the public stairs.
Oh, good.
Because he says, people will find something to judge me about anyway.
Oh, wow. What a grown-up little boy. I
Good
love
attitude.
That. So it brings me to the question, when it comes to someone living with Tourette's or tic disorders, are they okay in regular schools and stuff like that? They don't need any special care schools at all?
They just need us to embrace them as they are, to look beyond that label, look beyond that vocal tic, look beyond that motor tic, and just get to know them as a person, because they are wonderful, beautiful people inside. And that's all they want you to see, right? But many times we see what we see, something that is very overt, that is there. Our eyes are there. So this is a little appeal to everyone. We are talking about inclusivity.
Yeah.
So, this disorder may be a little bit louder, maybe a little bit more overt, bigger, but they are beautiful people inside.
Yeah. Do you have an idea of how many people are affected by Tourette's in Singapore?
I don't have the stats. I'm sorry, but I don't have the stats.
Okay.
No worries. I just wanted to put you in a difficult position.
I think a lot of people, if they're sitting with someone with Tourette's, would be more embarrassed for themselves, not so much for the person, because attention is drawn.
It's drawn to
them,
that table and
to that table,
area.
and they're just kind of like, why is everyone looking at us, kind of thing, you know? So we got to stop with the judgment.
I mean, let's not forget about the caregiver.
Yeah, for sure.
Their caregivers, what their caregivers go through as well, you know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Gerry, for bringing this up. And, at least we've raised some awareness. Let's all be more understanding.
Absolutely.
Should we encounter, someone who has Tourette's, out in public. Thank you so much, Gerry. Any last words?
Yes, and as an encouragement, I read this off the net, so you can go Google, but 3 simple rules in life, and I thought it's a good encouragement for all those suffering from Tourette's or special needs. 1, if you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. 2, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. 3, if you don't step forward, you're always in the same place.
All right.
Well
Thank
done.
you,
Thanks, Gerry.
Gerry.
Thanks, Gerry.
And to the boy you've been talking about this morning, please send him our love and give him a big hug for us.
Well, the boy is now a young
I
man,
will.
right?
Yes, he is. He's over 21 now.
Send him our love.
I will. Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a good week ahead. Blessed Holy Week. Bye-bye.
Take care,
Bye.
Gerry. See you next week. Coming up next, our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times, Nian Tjoe, will be joining us.
It is Tuesday, the 4th of April.
Kiss 92 Day Check by Gain City. Gain City's 42nd anniversary sale.
Good morning, Nian Tjoe.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nian Tjoe. Feels I haven't seen you in so long. Okay, 1 week.
1 week, you were.
Yeah, much better. The damn influenza. Be careful, everyone. If
Influenza
you're taking
A.
like public transport and all that, make sure you wear your mask.
And clean everything.
I think it's going around.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
It's bad.
I don't want to scare people. That's why I didn't go on air and talk about it.
Oh, we spoke about it on
Oh,
your
is it?
behalf. Yes. She
Okay.
said he's down and like out and unable to get out of bed.
Yeah, it's like one knockout punch.
So let's talk about street hailing cabs.
Yes, versus apps versus the ride hailing. Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Nian Tjoe, I want to ask you because these two are quite useless actually.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Although they take public
Just
transport.
tell us how you really feel.
I asked them early on. I said, you know, the what is the what is that?
Flag down
fee for taxis. They don't know.
$4.10.
Now you know.
Yes, of course.
You just Google.
I
asked them. They didn't know.
I have people
Neither
to
do
do
I.
it.
Yeah,
Is
we
it?
have
Oh,
people.
see? Oh, there you go. The senior transport
I'll tell you,
correspondent doesn't
Glenn,
even know.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Tell you why.
It changes.
For me, I private hire wherever I go. So if I use a cab, it's because I can't get a private hire.
Okay.
So I don't care what the flag down is.
It's
I
not a
need-
matter of don't
no,
care.
So
lah.
that's why I don't know.
But I have flagged down before, but that question is very vague because at different times of the day it changes.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
you've
does
got
it?
you've got
I
your
didn't
peak
know.
hour rates, and if you get picked up from the airport, is an extra $8 if you get this and that. So there are very many different rates, but the benchmark
Benchmark
is
is
$4.10
$8.
for the airport.
Airport.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's extra when you pick up at the
When
airport.
you can pick up at the airport, I think it's $8. If not, it's gone up
I think they even have dropped in incentives for the drivers as well. Then it's not just
for the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah,
the
because
incentive?
there were periods when there simply wasn't enough taxis. Yeah, the drivers don't prefer not to wait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Or they hawk around. They wait
They
until
wait.
somebody book because then you get an extra surcharge. on top of
Correct.
that.
Yeah. So what do you say for today's topic? I mean, like
I think it's on one side a bit obvious, but
that it's cheaper.
no, that things are getting more expensive.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That we are waiting longer for our to get around. Yeah, and this is quite a fun piece. I can't take credit for it because it was the other colleagues and the interns, which is fantastic. That they did all the legwork, flagging work, tagging work. And they found, because anecdotally we kind of get that feeling as commuters when we get around. Like yesterday, I actually had to take a taxi as well. It was just outside the office and I go, hey, there's a taxi.
It's quite unusual, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is unusual.
And this is entirely anecdote, right? But the driver, I was just chatting with him and he says that he really prefers not to use the app
Oh, right.
Really?
Why though?
because he claims that the fees, the platform fees is very high. He's better off just being on the street.
Trawling the roads and all
Yeah.
that. But it's so
The
weird.
good old-fashioned way.
Good
It's,
old-fashioned way,
it's so
yeah.
strange now because, I mean, you go to taxi stands and there's barely a taxi. It's all these app drivers that are driving through, picking up passengers, dropping off passengers and all that. You can barely get a taxi. So for someone like my mom who doesn't use apps, she has to wait a really long time at a taxi stand for an actual taxi to come by.
That's unfair.
It is unfair because half the time, if one comes by and drops someone off, he gets
booked,
booked
yes.
by
By
somebody
someone
else
else straight
somewhere
away.
else, you
Yeah.
know, or even standing next to her, someone's booked
Yeah.
a car.
Yeah.
So it's harder for the people who are not on the apps, and there are quite a few, I feel, that don't use the apps.
I think it's at the end it's also an opportunity thing. You know, as you're saying about using the app, I mean, some point in our life we had you standing by the street and then this guy just
Goes
kinda
in front of
nonchalantly
you.
walk in front of you.
Yeah.
Now it's all done on the app, and I mean we've heard of behaviors where they say that I'll usually launch maybe 2 to 3 apps.
To check which one is cheapest,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Cheaper,
everybody does that.
availability, because
Yeah.
this is really the two things that you're talking about. Being cheaper is the cost of the ride,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
expected cost, not
Yeah.
so much the flag down rate. It's like at the end, like yesterday, my
How much
ride
am I
to
paying?
Alexander was like, oh, it's just barely over $10. I would have been paying about
That's
8.
cheap, huh?
Yeah, it was a lucky day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just you think of that total cost, and I did not wait. So I didn't even need to pull out my phone and say, look for which is my favorite app or whichever. I still have some, I don't know, slot credits.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on air and talk about this a little bit more. I think if I didn't play golf, I won't drive. I'll just take public transport.
But you've been driving longer than you've been playing golf, so I doubt you'll be.
I don't see you
Yeah.
as being a public transport person.
You don't even know what this card is to tap.
What card is that?
Yeah, see? There you go.
Here we go.
Credit card.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the ECP towards the airport after Bayshore Road's exit avoid lane 1, an accident has been reported. Tons of accidents on the roads today. I think they might be wet. On West Coast Highway towards Borough flyover after West Coast Road, also avoid the left lane. An accident has been reported. And finally, the PIE is a mess heading towards the airport after Toh Guan Road's exit. Congestion all the way back to Jurong West Avenue 2. Avoid the right lane. Yet another accident has been spotted. If you see any updates on those situations, you can always WhatsApp us at 88550920.
Good morning and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our second guest for this morning is the senior transport correspondent at the Straits Times, Nian Tjoe. Good morning, Nian Tjoe.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good
And
morning.
What an interesting article, huh?
It's
Yes.
a very interesting article.
It is. Is it cheaper to flag down or book a cab via an app?
Well, overall, it is more expensive to get a ride from an app.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's luck of the draw if you want to flag down a vehicle, a taxi. Yeah, and I think what was really interesting for me on the receiving end, because I wasn't part of the team that did the good work, was actually how it compares to pre-COVID.
Okay.
Pre-COVID. So this is
Okay.
actually the study was done this year.
Okay.
But also in 2019 there was a similar one.
Is it more expensive now?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're
How,
also waiting
Definitely.
longer.
how much more? And
So I wrote it down.
Okay.
I think we were like 20% higher.
in price?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but more than that, it's also, I think, if you think about it from both sides, as a driver, behaviors in terms of how do you motivate the driver to get out of his house, switch on the app, or being a taxi driver, get on the road. You know, with always getting information from the authorities as well in terms of how many drivers and how is this shortage. How do you fix the shortage? You nudge them, incentivize them.
Yeah.
But then this also brings the other dynamic to it, which is when do you incentivize and by how much? I think this is where the fight is among the app platforms. Because I
Okay.
want to get more drivers on board and make sure I get incentivized enough.
Of
But then
course,
if
of course.
you pay the driver too much, then commuters are just going to go, no way, this is too expensive.
Because it's coming
But-
down to the consumer.
Yeah, but I think a lot of us have also got to bear in mind when you sit in a Grab, spend a little time talking to your private hire guy, and you will find like a lot of us think, oh, they drive 10 hours a day. They don't.
Then
They don't. They get up and they'll do 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Then they're done. They'll do 3 to 7, and then they're done.
they're working smart now.
They're working
They're very smart, yes.
They're working on surge pricing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So surge price, I go out, I work. After that, I go back, and that's why you
There are
can't-
less taxis.
Yeah, that's
and
why
you
you
wake
This
can't
is
up,
get
better
up.
also. It's better for their health because you know how in the
Yeah, of
past, I mean,
course.
taxi drivers,
Of course.
they would drive the whole day. And
Yeah,
it's not
12
not
hours
good
a
for
day.
It's
them.
not healthy.
Well, in fact, I had a taxi on Friday evening, and this guy had just started work. I think we were one of his first few customers. And he only drives on Fridays until 3 a.m. because he says his kids are grown up. So he has
Yeah.
a day job.
Okay.
You know, he works Monday to Friday, and then in the evening he takes over a friend's cab. He drives till 3 a.m. because his kids are grown up. His kids are all busy with their own lives and stuff like that. And he just does that, and then he goes home, chills out for the weekend,
Yeah.
and then starts his day job. So he only does it during that peak hour and during the time that works for him
Yeah.
and his partner who drives the car, and this is something that he does on his own. So, but why does it take so long to get a taxi now? It's like 8 to 10 minutes, no longer 2 to 4 minutes. You know, there's no longer one sitting outside your
Not
doorway.
enough cabs, is it?
Not enough drivers?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Not
I think
enough drivers,
it's
okay.
a mix. I think the drivers on one side, the impression we have is that taxi drivers, the in terms of how many people are signing up for the license and the profile, we're not getting young blood, as it were. In old-fashioned speak, right? Taxis used to be your employment of last resort. You want to run your
Yeah.
own business,
Yeah.
you know, for whatever reason, or
Yeah.
this is my in-between gig before I land my next job.
So you're saying taxi, not shared
And on
private
the private
hire.
hire side, there is also a similar trend. Also, we can blame it on COVID again. That during that time, I mean, there's a big reset
Shift,
Yeah.
in terms of the mindset of the drivers as well, going like, do I really want that not have that work-life balance that
Yeah.
you know, is really taking a toll on my health,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all these other considerations. Plus, on the other side, platforms are starting to play different games.
Right.
Because remember, pre-COVID is also slightly earlier time when there were certain platforms that were, say, upping the game. I need to get the market share, get the
Yeah.
stickiness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's habit. Which is your favorite app? And you, okay, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that you've got, you know, I've given you I've got into your psyche.
Yep.
I gotta start cranking up because I got shareholders to answer to. I have all
And
the
I
other-
got to keep
Yeah.
you happy as well, right?
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
let's continue this conversation on the Big Show TV. But I just want to say that I'm appalled. I'm looking at the comparison of point-to-point commutes, and for Grab, oh my goodness! Like in the evening from here, Toa Payoh, to the city at around 6 p.m.
Yes.
is $25.
Correct. I think we're
Yeah.
going to be showing that
Oh
on the
my
we're going to be showing that on the
goodness.
screen on the Big Show TV.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I mentioned. But I just couldn't.
It's
I
crazy.
couldn't help it.
It's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Okay,
crazy.
we'll check that out exclusively on the Big Show TV. All right, you tuned in to Kiss 92.
So
You know-
so attractive you look with that.
Glenn,
That's why.
you're
I
going.
can't see anything.
You're going $25. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal, man.
It is crazy.
Do you know how many people on a regular basis are paying 50, 60 bucks
Yep.
to get home?
It is that much. Like some days I'm supposed to be paying $9 coming from Upper Thompson. There's some days when I'm waiting for a taxi
Yeah.
with you, right? And it's $25.
Yeah.
I
And
might
it-
as well just
A
hop on the bus.
$9 ride is $25.
And
It's crazy.
It's still cheaper taking public transport than owning
Getting
a
your-
car.
Because it doesn't happen all the time.
But I think for when it comes to car ownership, there are a lot of other things in
Yeah.
play. You have your upfront payment, you've got your taxes, you've got your
Your servicing, your
maintenance,
everything,
you've got
yeah.
everything else. You've got
There's
you
a
know
lot.
you don't have a personal driver drop you point A to point B,
Yeah.
which is what I like.
Yeah.
You know that I don't have to walk back
It's
to
the
my
sheer
car.
convenience.
It's the convenience.
Sometimes
yeah.
you pay for it.
Okay, so this is the graph. Let's have a look at
Oh
it.
yeah, there.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Nice and big, Glenn.
Oh, I can't see.
That's
from
why you
here,
can't
so-
see.
Actually, I still can't.
But I mean, you just look at the lines.
I have it on my phone.
Look at the boxes. I mean, Street Hail alone is so much lower than your Grab, Gojek, Comfort Delgro.
Nian Tjoe sent to me. That's right.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is,
but your waiting time
your waiting
is
time
longer.
is crazy.
Your waiting time for Street Hail is longer. Obviously.
I think at the end it's back to old-fashioned demand supply, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to not us, but I guess from all sides of both sides of the argument is you're trying to get a bit more demand, a bit more supply. And what do we learn in school? Demand supply equals price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're playing around on either axis, that's where that's,
Something's got to shift
yeah, that's the
with it.
that's the battleground. And we were talking a little bit on public transport.
Yeah.
So this technically we call it point to point. So
Yeah.
this takes you almost to your doorstep. Of course, if you street hail, it might mean walking
A little bit
steps.
more, yeah.
But generally, fundamentally, I think if you approach transport or getting from point A to B, is that you have all this buffet of choices. And at its most basic, it's time versus money. You want the
Yeah.
fastest
True.
way, right? You want to pay
You
the
gotta
highest.
pay.
Yeah, highest bidder wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
If you're not in a hurry,
Take a bus.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take a
Yeah.
train.
Yeah. Or wait for your comfort or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll caveat that during the study also there is this element of, besides on the supply, more on the supply side is what happens to the weather. Right? It could be on that fateful day, or this morning you were talking about accidents on
Yeah.
expressways, right? If for the driver he goes like, okay, I took this job and now I got to be on a PIE and I'm stuck.
Yeah, he's wasting
Yeah,
trips.
so on his side, he's
Yeah.
he's got a bit of he has an opportunity cost on him.
Yep.
And then on the commuter side, you go like, why are there no cars and taxis for me? Because they're all stuck in the traffic jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to time and money.
Yeah.
Actually, there are points in time, if you do your calculations right, it is actually faster for you to take a train or a bus
For sure.
than to take a cab.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Just
if you get
because
stuck
of
on
the
the
jams,
highways,
yes.
yeah.
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 So it is actually better.
Glenn is unconvinced.
He's unconvinced.
No, I'm
No,
not. I'm
it's-
just like
It
I'm
is-
just listening to you
Yeah,
guys.
because you
yeah.
can't relate.
Interesting.
Have you
can't
considered
relate.
the bus lane? That's another spanner in the works in terms of calculation of time. Because
How
yes,
so?
buses would stop
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
they have a bus lane when, if as a driver, you go like, as well as the ride-hailing cars and the
correct.
taxis, they cannot use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then this is, well, in theory, at least on most times, this is your express lane.
Yeah.
So there will be trips that actually you probably it almost evens out. Or
Yeah.
even be better as FDS said.
Yeah. So tempting to use the bus lanes sometimes.
No, my goodness.
You're not supposed
As long
to.
as you see the red line, you can't even go in at any time.
I don't care. On the way to Centrepoint, I just go in that lane.
no.
And those are those guys waiting there with
Hey,
those
they got
cameras.
cameras, you
They've
know.
got their
Now, hung the
phones.
flap. Okay, sometimes I do this stupid
Actually, I
thing.
confess
Sometimes.
I'm a bit confused with the when the hours
Yes.
are. So like,
Yeah.
then you need one guy that drives in. Oh, must be clear.
Okay.
You know,
As long
because
as it's dotted, I think you can veer in because you're
Yes.
going to turn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if it's red,
Red,
it's
no.
not at all
Not at
at
all.
any time,
At any
right?
time.
At any time, yeah.
Which is stupid actually. At night, you see, there are no cars at
There
all.
are no buses
I
also.
drive in that lane.
But you don't need it at night. That's the thing.
Of course,
the road
exactly.
is clear, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know. I have pros and cons for all these things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, if you're a foreigner coming to Singapore and you've got all these things, you'll be going like, what?
Yeah.
This is causing even more congestion.
But the funny thing is if you're a foreigner and you're coming to Singapore, right? Our transportation, right, is dirt cheap, man.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
It's so cheap.
And it's
Even if you just compare it to Australia, cabs here, cabs in Australia, this is cheap.
But you know what? I'm confused about why they stopped with the temporary MRT passes. They don't have the soft ones anymore. That
Yeah.
you, as tourists, you have to get the card.
Yes.
So what? Then you return it when you're done, or
it's a
or
nice
you
souvenir.
keep it? Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
well, like for me, I have Australian transport cards.
like the
Because I go there
Optus,
regularly, so
right?
I know,
Yeah,
you see,
yeah.
so-
Why can't we all just use our credit cards?
You
just
can
tap.
You can.
You can,
No, but
you can.
foreigners, you can as well. I used it in Australia. My
Yeah.
credit card I
You
used
can
in
Yeah,
use it.
Australia
that's so
as
much
well.
better.
Yeah.
Why do you have
Because
to buy
I get
all
better
these cards
deals
and all
when
that?
I use their cards.
Don't. How
Ah.
much cheaper? Is it very
to
much
me,
cheaper?
Heavy user.
To me, every
You
every
know him.
trip is
Every
every trip.
cent that he
That's why
saves.
people say
Every cent
the rich gets richer.
Get richer. Yes, yes.
Aiyo. So kiam siap. Sorry, are we on air?
We're going to be
Oh,
on
okay,
air. Final talks at it.
Okay. All American Rejects, Dirty Little Secret right here on Kiss 92. All the great songs in one place. Our second guest for this morning is our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times, the one and only Nian Tjoe. Welcome.
You know, the only issue I have with public transport here, and this is particularly with ride hails, yeah, is the number of times I have booked a cab. 2 minutes from me, the cab cancels.
Oh,
Yeah. But if I do the same thing, I get charged.
No, I think they get penalized as well.
Do they?
They do.
I
yes,
sure as
I've
hell
asked.
hope so.
I've asked.
Why would
before.
they do something like that? Why would they cancel
Because
on
a
you?
higher paying
No,
trip comes
but
in.
it can't be. If they've already booked a trip, can they still see other trips coming in unless it's another platform?
Another
Yes,
platform.
I was
Another
thinking that,
platform.
another platform.
Okay.
Because usually they have two phones.
But you know what? Consumers do that as well. I've seen people with 3 apps open on their phone trying to
Yeah.
see which one will come
Yes.
first. They've booked 3. They've booked 3. One is 3 minutes, one is 5 minutes. Let's see who gets stuck in traffic. Okay, that guy's out.
Yeah.
No,
Do you
see,
know what I mean?
my point is when you do these bookings, right? A cab accepts, he's locked in. He cannot reject.
Really? Taxis
No,
cannot
I'm
reject?
saying it
Oh.
should be.
Oh.
If I accept, I'm locked in. I cannot get out.
But what if your plans have changed? Like suddenly you need to go back upstairs because you've forgotten something, and then, you
I
get.
pay.
Yeah.
I pay.
I'm thinking of the cheap hotel rooms that I book.
What
So I
about
think
them?
when you got free cancellation,
Yeah.
and then the rates are lower.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then, I mean, maybe that could be an idea to dissuade people from just carelessly firing up 3 apps, dropping 2.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
simulating for the driver's side.
Yeah, there should be some
Absolutely.
rules. And well, you know what? It's still. I'm sure it's a work in progress, and hopefully it gets better with time.
Maybe they drive by, they don't like, they
Your
know
face?
that you are the one.
Yeah, and then they
Okay.
cancel.
Yeah,
Because
and
2
then they
minutes is
cancel on
quite
you.
close, right? They
Like,
could
who
be-
is this guy trying to look like a commando with his red beret?
Hey, it's not
I
a
think I'll just.
beret.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
beret.
but it is called a beret, isn't it? It is a beret.
No, it's not. It's
It-
actually, it's not.
It's also a
It's
beret.
a putty or something like
It's a,
that.
what's a pootie?
I don't know. He told me the last time around.
It's a
Starts with
pooty.
P, right? What is this called? Your
It's a
a
pootie?
flat hat.
flat hat. Okay, close enough.
It's
Because in some languages you don't use the word puti.
F and P look the same, yeah.
Nian Tjoe, this guy has like hundreds of hats, and it's his signature.
Yeah.
So every day he puts on
A different one.
a different hat. But
Depending
of
on
course,
what
we
I'm
can't
wearing.
call them hats.
Yeah.
They all have
Specific names.
specific names.
Like this one's a pooty, right?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
but it's puti.
And he's got a hat that looks like a cowboy hat. I say cowboy hat, he gets angry.
Because it's
not
not
a
a
cowboy hat,
cowboy
it's something
hat.
else.
See, he gets very emotional about his hats.
I'm waiting for my desert eagle to
Oh,
come.
there
If my
you go.
desert eagle comes.
He's going to wear his
See what I
eagle.
mean? Desert eagle. Okay, so tell everyone, what is this again? It's a flat hat.
Some people call it a flat hat.
Is it a
I've
flat
never-
hat or a flat cap?
A flat hat, but I've never heard it called what
A
you
puti.
called
A
it.
pooty?
Well, from today onwards,
puti.
it's called a pooty.
Okay.
Somehow
How
I
do
look
you-
at it.
how
I
do you
hope
spell
you like
puti.
my puti.
How do you spell pooty?
P-O-O-T-Y.
I thought it was P-U-T-I.
I've got a very pretty puti.
Anyway.
Nian Tjoe is confused in our
Yeah,
conversation
exactly.
right
Are
now.
we done with our
You were the
conversation
one
or what?
started with about the
started
hats.
this?
But anyway, we have to go. I mean, Shalini is telling us news.
She's telling
News
us
is
to
coming
shut
up.
up.
But before you go, anything else you would like to tell us about the article?
Well, I think some things about this is that fundamentally we're talking about. It comes back to at least if there's a sermon.
Yeah.
It's time and money. Oftentimes, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit with the fact that we have access to all these apps. They give you a projection how much it costs, roughly how long it will take. At the same time, you can also use the other apps that will tell you what about public transport, all these other notes
That's
to get to where you
true.
need to.
That's
so rather
true.
than doggedly going like, okay, I get out, this is my
only
reflex.
choice,
I'm gonna
yeah.
fire this up, do this, and then go there, and then you realize somebody's gonna tell you, why didn't you do something else? And you go, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, if you have the time, you have the luxury of going fairly economical. But if you don't have the time, then you pay the dollar.
Yeah. And besides that is the fact that you have access to all this information now.
The
If you could
information,
book with
yeah.
an app, you can also use different apps. Ask Google.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
cheapest way to get there, or the best way, for example.
No
Yeah.
jams and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's a very interesting article. You want to read it? Street hail cabs still viable as costs, duration of point-to-point commutes rise. A survey has been done, and the article is by Christopher Tan, the senior transport correspondent. We've been speaking to Nian Tjoe, our senior transport correspondent as well, right here on KISS 92. Thank you so much, Nian Tjoe, for joining
Thank you,
us.
pleasure. Thank you.